What's going on, everybody? Today is August 16th. Time for another Buoy 10 update. However, this is another ocean update because today we were in the salt. And I've been getting a lot of questions about why I've been out in the ocean as opposed to in the river. Well, my job is to do whatever the clients and the customers ask. My mentor probably says it best. We don't sell fish. We're not commercial fishermen. We sell fun. That's all we do here. And so whatever the customers want to do is what we're going to go do. So right now we'll talk about the ocean here real quick, and then I want to go over something that I call control the chaos. And it's a little thing that I think will hopefully help you guys out there because fishing's good. There's not much to go over that I haven't already gone over yet. So let's try and do a little tech tip. So the ocean was a little bit different here today. We ran up to the exact same numbers, just a little bit south and west of CR that we did extremely well at yesterday. And today was much, much slower. And the water temp was 6 degrees warmer. That is substantial that far offshore. So it was a bit of a grind, but we ended up getting all of our coho. No Chinook out there. It sounds like up north you might have a better shot at getting Chinook, but down south, plenty of coho. Not as good of a grade today either. Not as big as they were yesterday. And one thing I've also noticed about the coho is that their meat is actually quite a bit paler, not as bright, brilliant red as what we're used to seeing in these coho. And that might be diet. The fish that we are catching are puking up. I mean, some of these coho are like little 4-pounders. They're still pretty small, but they're puking up black label herring. I mean, just giant herring. So they might be more on herring and anchovy, less on krill, which might change the color of their meat. I know I've been told by biologists that is genetics and diet, but I don't know. Just find it kind of interesting that their meat is quite a bit paler than the normal. Same deal, 15 to 25 on the counters, spin fish. I do not want to deal with bait out there whatsoever. There are way too many shorts and way too many mackerel and way too many wilds. You're going to be burning through too much bait. You're going to be rebaiting the whole time. Use a lure. It doesn't always have to be spin fish. Use a lure though, and it'll save you a lot of headache. I promise you that. Okay, so I'm going to get the boat turned here a little bit. I want to talk about controlling the chaos. Now, the bite is getting better out here in the river. Sounds like the guys in the river here today are doing pretty good. It's kind of sloppy out here. I had to stop right in this little spot here behind the bridge with 1,000 of my closest, stinkiest friends. Take a look. Right there next to Cormorant City, because this is the only place that is away from the wind. And hopefully the sound comes through well enough that you guys can hear me. If I went on the other side of this piling, oh boy, it's blowing pretty hard even on an incoming tide. Let's go over controlling the chaos. And what I mean by that is when it gets really good out here and the bite starts popping, you are going to want to have control of what you can control. You can't control the sea lions, you can't control the fish and where they're dragging you around and where they're pulling line from, but what you can control is your boat. This is your office, this is where you work. So make sure you have everything managed correctly. So what I first do is, before we even get lines in the water, is I go through what I call my little stewardess speech, where I tell people how we control the gear. And I'll show you here right now. So these here are the, get that out of the way. So these here are the tackle tenders that I use. Everything has its place. Flasher goes in, the lure or your bait has a little tray. The lead is controlled underneath these rubber bands. You're stuck in there, and the rod is pinched in. It can't go anywhere at all. So anytime that we get a fish on, or we're checking baits, or we're getting ready to grass, everything gets stored up here at all times. What I don't want to have happen is I don't want to have 16 ounces of lead swinging around while people are trying to net fish or get gear cleared. It hurts, trust me, I know. It hurts getting hit in the head with 16 ounces of lead. So have everything in its place. If you don't have these tackle tenders, figure out a way to get everything stored up and put it in their place where it belongs. So the other part of that is I give everybody a number at the beginning of the day. For my boat, the way my boat is set up and the length rods that I use, the number is 8. 8 feet on your line counters every single time that you reel up, because if you don't, if you reel all the way up to the rod tip, you can't reach your gear. If you try and grab it, the flasher or the lure, you're just gonna pull down on that rod tip and break it. So if you stop at 8 feet, every single time it'll come to your hand. I'll show you that here right now. All right, so get the gear in. Hooks always go in the water first. then the flasher, then the lead, get it pointed off to the side, make sure nothing's tangled up, all cleared up. Now, when I go to 8 feet, you kind of see it, a little shadow there. 8 feet on my line counter. I'll turn the camera here so you can see. I lift straight up. I don't know if you guys can really see it here that well. That lead comes right to my hand. I grab a hold of the lead, grab a hold of the flasher. I got my lure. Everything is stored up. I have control of my gear. If you don't stop at 8, you got everything cartwheeling through the sky, 16 ounces, a full pound of lead swinging around people's faces. Not good. So every single time when we hook up into a fish, I start barking out orders. Hey, let's get those lines in, lead those in over here because we want to try and get a double. And everybody on this side, reel up as fast as you can. You're gonna stop at what number? Stop at 8 feet. So stop at 8, you lift up, grab a hold of your gear, drop it back in the tackle tenders. Now you don't need to worry about where gear is while you're trying to net that fish. So as the bite starts getting better, figure out a routine that works well for you and your boat. Get dialed in, make sure everyone's on the same page, because you gotta be a well-oiled machine, a good crew, to make sure that everyone has success and that you're safe out here. So hopefully that helps. I know it's kind of broad, but I wanted to share that with you guys to try and help you as the bite continues to get better throughout the end of this week. You have to have everyone on the same page to make sure that you aren't getting leads to the head and that you can effectively get fish to the boat. Because if people don't know what to do when a bite happens, you're gonna get fish tangled up in other rods. When you make a hard turn to try and open up your stance for that fish while he's pulling 200 feet of line out, you're gonna get gear tangled up over here on your opposite side of the boat. Not good. So to control all of your gear, to make sure you land that fish, you worked hard, you came all the way down here to try and catch fish. Little time, just a little bit of time. Take 10 minutes to make sure everyone goes through and is on the same page for when the chaos does happen. So hopefully that helps. Again, fishing's good down here. Guys in the river are stroking them. Guys out in the ocean are doing excellent. It's go time. Here we are. Fall time, Buoy 10. Fish are here. Let's have some fun. See you guys tomorrow.